tough game. It's every game's hard in the league. I don't get any game thing it's easy. Every game's hard. We're playing really well. We go with confidence. It's a hard game for MK Dons as well. But we go with confidence. We go and try and get another win.
Hello again, friends, and you are my friends. And there was Paul Lambert ahead of today's big game against MK Dons. Welcome to your Matchday ticket live in association with Best Burger Stowmarket. Consistently high quality burgers every single time. And I am joined by two very special guests. They have been on the show previously. First and foremost, let's address the shirt. The ritual is still in play. I've worn this shirt every single time, and we've won. Every single time I haven't worn it, we haven't won. So I'm wearing it again. And I have to be brutally honest, it hasn't been washed, because you don't wash lucky shirts. Otherwise, the luck is washed out. Also, doubly important is the beard and hair combo. My wife wants me to have it trimmed and the haircut done. I've said no. As long as Town keep winning, this is staying. Because you never, Cruncher, never change the ritual.
You can be like Father Christmas, aren't you?
Oh, well, if Town can give me 3 points, I'll keep having it on. I don't care. I really don't care. I mean, you don't change your luck, right?
Hopefully Amy's got them lucky pants on.
Moving quickly on, Nick Muller's at work, but he predicts 5-0 for Ipswich. Andrew Arben, afternoon, everyone. And JT, good afternoon. I tell you what, Nick Muller, he was in the Championship show on Thursday.
He was on fire. He was on fire with them goals. There was goals galore.
He was literally, I mean, I don't know if he had a score rush on or anything, but he was literally laying it down. And joining us as well is Mr. Luke Penning. Luke, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Yeah, I'm good. I called you Luke Pennington on Facebook earlier. I often do that with your name. I'm sorry. It's because of Matt Pennington, so I often confuse you. But you're a football scout specialist. That's what we're going to call you, I think, today. Because you're going to obviously tell us some thoughts on our new signing. We've got Grease Paint Pill, 1-0 Ipswich. So without further ado, should we get into today's team news and start discussing Today's Ipswich Town team news is brought to you in association with Best Burger Stowmarket. Consistently high quality burgers at great prices as quickly as possible. Grab the best burger at the back of the Queen's Head Stowmarket. Call Stowmarket 01449 680 058 to book a table. And today's team is this. It's unchanged, Cruncher.
Yeah, I think we could have all picked the team, couldn't we, really?
How often have you said that under Paul Lambert?
Not very often, have we? But
no.
When you've won 3 games, you're not conceded a goal. I see a lot of people last week moaning about the defence. You can't change it, can you? You cannot change a team that's not let a goal in for 3 games, no matter what you might think of the centre-back pairing. You don't do it. And today, I see Wolfie, I think he was on the bench, wasn't he? Was he on the bench and then taken off?
Yeah. Well, this is the big conspiracy going around, isn't it, really? Because was he on the bench? Was it a mistake by the graphics guy? Have Sheffield United come back with a bid because they've got a defender that's gone down for the season? I mean, there's all sorts of rampant conspiracies, fueled by me. But yes, he's not on the bench now. So the bench is Cornell, Kenlock, Downs, Hughes, Judge, Jackson, Lancaster. Luke, let's start with the bench. We don't normally start with the bench because obviously they're not playing. But that bench, you are not going to find a single bench in League One that's better, are you?
No, I don't think so. I think it's an interesting one seeing Jackson back. I heard that they obviously had to rush him back. I don't know how fit he is, but to rush him back, obviously with Norwood's injury, him being out for, I think, 2 months. Other than that, yeah, it's a very strong bench. You know, you saw Downs come on last week, seemed to be very angry at himself or the opponents keep trying to hack him. But, you know, he's a player that can come on and obviously do things. And, you know, if he was starting before this Crystal Palace stuff happened, he's a first name on the team sheet. You've got Lancaster who come on against Bristol Rovers and obviously got the 2 assists and, you know, is a player that is very exciting off the bench. You've got obviously Hughes in there as well if you're ever to need bringing someone in like that as well. But yeah, I think, you know, last season with the formation being changed like every week and that sort of thing, we never got a consistent team. So I think it's refreshing as a whole to see the team staying the same.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with that. It's just rare, as we've said at the start of the show there, Cruncher, that it has stayed the same. But we've had some various sort of different conversations on the podcast, on social media. First of all, let's start with Thomas Holy, because many have obviously fallen in love with the giant goalkeeper, and others will say rightfully so. we've not played anybody. Has he had a good month of September, or was it have a cup of tea and we don't really need you?
He does some lovely posts on Instagram, doesn't he, Martin? I know you're a big fan of them.
Nope.
Look,
No, I'm really not.
Getting back to the bench quickly, if Wolfie was on there and he had an injury, surely McGuinness would have travelled.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's an interesting thing with McGuinness. We've signed him. He's not been involved last week, which I can understand. He's not involved this week. He can't be involved, I think, on Tuesday because he's already played in the trophy for Arsenal. So it's an interesting one where he's actually going to come in, because you've got Wolfenden who's going to be fit. Is he behind Wolfenden? It's an interesting one, isn't it, really? Because we are just overloaded with players. We really are. But Thomas Holy, not had a lot to do, has he, really? Let's be honest. 3 games. How many shots has he actually had to save in them 3 games?
I don't think he's actually faced... From what I was seeing the other day, I think we've actually faced an actual shot. I think we had that goal against Rochdale that was offside, but other than that, I don't think he's actually faced a shot. Like, I think it's quite... Like, a lot of people are praising some of the defence as well. You can kind of take that into the same conversation as the goalkeeper, in the fact that we haven't really faced much shots. You know, people have been praising Chambers' performance, and rightly so in some aspects. But you think of it, you know, if he's up against a pacey winger, which, to be fair, he hasn't really had the chance to be up against someone like that. You know, I think we're lucky in a way that Charlton has been put back due to international call-ups in some of them cases. Because
I don't know. I don't agree with you there, Luke, because I think they're a team. They've obviously made some signings. I think you'd want to play them earlier, because if we play them in December, then new signings are going to bed it in, and then it's going to be a hard game. Charlton, I did say that's probably the hardest game of the first 6. I think today will be a tough game.
Yeah, so do I.
They've got 1 point from 3 games. I listened to Russell Martin's pre-match press conference he done. A lot of stats-based things he came out with. I think they like to keep the ball. It's interesting to see Richard Keogh's playing today, Martin. He's played 7 minutes football in, I think, a year. So be interesting to see. We really need to put him under pressure, I would have thought.
Oh, big time. And I think you'll see, obviously, Richard Keogh, for all of the issues he's faced over the last 12, 24 months, Hawkins today has to kind of bully him. And we'll see where Hawkins is as a player up against a player like Keogh, because Keogh's played at the highest level. And he's been a good centre-half throughout his career at a decent level. So if we could see a little bit of Hawkins of last week against Keogh, maybe, just maybe, I'll start to be a little bit kinder to him. I still like my centre-forwards to score goals. Last week he did everything but score a goal, which is fine if the team's winning. But if the game is close, for example, or 0-0, that post opportunity, you are literally ruining that, and that's a promotion come May sometimes. Though different between 1 point and 3 points. I'm really impressed with the midfield 3 sticking together. I would like to see Flynn Downs come in. I'll be brutally honest, for John Nolan. But it's nice to have Downs off the bench. It really is. But you can't play too much with that team, really. That's the tricky thing, Rich.
See, if I brought Downs in, I'd bring him in for Bishop. I know we disagree on that. Nolan is a recycler, like you said last week on the pod. You know, he gets that ball, plays the way he's facing. For me, Bristol Rovers' second half was what I'd want to see more of John Nolan. Getting forward, supporting that striker, getting ahead of him, getting in the box and getting a goal. Because I've said before, I think John Nolan, he needs to be getting 8 goals. I think it should be what he should aim for. He probably does. You know, he's probably thinking, I need to score more goals. Bishop, I thought he was quiet last week, second half. Obviously, he got his goal. He was involved in the second one. I thought, other than that, he didn't do a lot. And we see at Bristol Rovers, he was pretty anonymous, wasn't he, in the last away game. So today, I want him to get on that ball and get that ball, get running and get driving at the MK defence, because I think that's when you see the best of Teddy Bishop.
Yeah, I just think Teddy Bishop obviously a lot more than John Nolan, and I think Nolan and Downs, Downs can do what John Nolan does every day of the week and twice on a Saturday. Nolan will score today. Eric Clacton, Cali, welcome in, my friend. Agreed, Downs for Bish. Nolo being quality. 3-0 Nolo, Hawkins and Toto. Let's hear Paul Lambert's thoughts on recent injuries, and we'll get into that very shortly.
Pulled his hamstring at this minute, and it's a blow, because I thought he was starting to do okay again for us. So that's a blow, but he'll get back in maybe, I don't know, 6 to 8 weeks. Hopefully he'll come back. But again, it's a situation. a long layoff, and you're trying to cram in so many games in a short space of time. It doesn't make sense, but as the situation for everybody, and these things are going to happen. Wolfies came through a good week. Caden the same, Judgy the same. So we have a stronger squad than what we did last week, and we pick a team that we think we can win the game.
I don't like to fuel conspiracy theories, but at the end there, he says Wolfenden come through a good week and then suddenly he's not on the bench after being on the graphic. I don't want to fuel conspiracy theories, but obviously James Norwood, I want to talk to Luke about James Norwood because I'm going to grab a bunch of thoughts in this show, but also tomorrow on the podcast with Matt. Norwood, we had Norwood Gate during the week, but James Norwood is injured for a possibility of 6 to 8 to 10 weeks. Is that a blow to Ipswich?
I would have said yes. It kind of goes back to what you were saying at the beginning of the show, to be honest. Like, it's all right if strikers don't score goals, obviously when we're winning, that kind of thing. But there might be games coming up where we could have actually needed someone like him. I was talking to someone, an account on Twitter the other day called Tranmere Analytics. He obviously knows a lot about Tranmere. He was telling me, kind of what I knew already anyway, but that basically Norwood was barely ever injured throughout his time at Tranmere. And obviously it comes to quite a lot of the players that we sign. You know, they have some of them have next to no injury records. It's not until they sign here that it becomes an issue. Maybe that's something that needs to be talked about in some capacity or maybe changed. But yeah, in reference to Norwood, I think he would have been a good player when the game's tight. But obviously, based on recent fitness and form, he hasn't really been there. But obviously, then it goes to the same question that I was saying at the beginning of the show about Jackson. Like, if for whatever reason, if we're 1-0 behind in this game and Hawkins ain't doing the job, are you going to risk someone who ain't particularly fit off the bench in Jackson, who some say isn't particularly suited to the lone striker formation, and someone who isn't fit? So that'd be an interesting thing to come to. Obviously, Lambert said he wants to bring in a striker in on loan, but obviously with finances and the salary cap, I'm not sure how possible that is.
Rich, is it a blow to Ipswich? Do you feel, because I know you've been critical of James Norwood many times.
He didn't look fit in what I've seen so far. I'll talk about the social media side tomorrow. Is it a blow? Yeah, it is a blow because now we're light on strikers, you know, but he hasn't performed. He hasn't played any football, Martin, since February. It was interesting to say when during COVID he didn't have the access to the rehab. Now, I'm not buying that. He's had a groin operation. I said before in one of the pods, his leg wasn't falling off, was it? I don't think he looks after himself. I really don't. And I wonder why. No, I wonder why now he's 28. Why has he never played at a higher level? This is the biggest club he's going to play for, James Norwood. He needs to realise that. Get himself... We said in the chat, Martin, in the week, if you're getting paid $8,000, you know, to play football, keep yourself away from social media. I wouldn't be anywhere near it, you know. So...
And we'll go into that tomorrow in the podcast, you know, live from 1:30 on Facebook,
but
YouTube, and Twitter.
He hasn't looked fit to me. It's a blow, yeah, because it's a body. I'm glad Jackson's back at the minute. Well, I'd get James Norwood. I'd get him fit. I'd get him out of the club in January. I really would. I'm leaning towards maybe your way of thinking. It's typical Ipswich, and I'm getting some comments coming through. I've got Facebook Live. Cheers, guys, for watching. Love you all for commenting. Benjamin Michael, can we play injury bingo with today's game yet? Who's it going to be? And we've got Callie saying he's on 10 grand a week. You can't buy some kit at home and get fit. Sorry, 8K. And Graham Tate, do you think the lightweight midfield playing today will cope with the heavy pitches? We don't have no heavy pitches nowadays. Come on, it's not the 70s and 80s when you played on mud baths.
Been a lot of rain.
Our two kids played this morning. It was fine. A little bit of rain. Football's supposed to be played in the winter, Martin.
But my point was going to be, it's typical Ipswich, isn't it? Get a player back like Jackson, and you think, brilliant, we've got Jackson coming back, we keep hold of him, we've got Norwood coming back, this is great. Rub our hands together. Hawkey's looking at prospect, and then suddenly you get the news, Norwood's out for a period.
Did it surprise you to see that someone got injured this week? Because it seems a theme, doesn't it?
But what we need now is some really strong investigating people, journalists, whatever, to really sort of get down to the nooks and crannies of the matter, because why are these players getting injured in training? What's going on there? Something is not right at the football club.
I think Mick Mills has commented on Suffolk before about you shouldn't be doing a lot of training. You're fit now. I know we got a lot of games coming up. We should just be ticking over. Little five-a-side, go home.
Yeah, absolutely. Johnny Duncan, don't understand why McGuinness isn't on the bench at least. When do we announce Bennett's injury? Well, funny you should say that because he did spend some period of 2019 out with a hamstring injury. And hamstrings are a funny old thing. So hopefully he's going to come here and be fully fit. But let's move on to Bennett because Luke, obviously, is a player you know a fair bit about. He has played centrally this year. The 2 appearances he's made so far this year have been as a central striker. So he can play centrally, but he operates more as a left winger, doesn't he?
Yeah. From what I know, I know a little bit about him. He's 21. He moved to Borussia Mönchengladbach in 2018. Was hyped up like Jadon Sancho and those that go to Germany, that sort of thing. As you were saying, he's predominantly left-footed, predominantly plays on the left side, can play at left back and left mid, but can operate anywhere across the attacking positions, whether at attacking mid, striker, or right mid. Obviously, you were saying that most of his recent positions have been at striker. I think he actually made his debut this year for Borussia Mönchengladbach in the Bundesliga. But as he said in his interview yesterday, he's the kind of player that likes to benefit do well in one-on-one situations and in terms of dribbling. So if there's a position in the sense that we can't bring in a striker, it might be a very not what you necessarily want to do, but he can play there. I remember his brother as well was most recently released by Watford, Jadon Bennett, and I remember a couple of years ago at the FA Youth Cup, he was a player that was causing Ipswich a lot of trouble. I also saw on Twitter the other day, obviously Sears was saying that Chambers was going to be on free kicks, and a lot of people were a bit concerned about that. But from what I know and what I've seen, he takes free kicks, basically with his technique, he's the kind of player that can take free kicks and thrive from them. But I don't think he takes them as much as he probably should have. In the FA Youth Cup, when he was, I think it was a month before he actually went to Borussia Mönchengladbach. So this is a couple of years ago, but just going by what I know, he played Chelsea, ended up scoring 2 free kicks in the game. I think himself yesterday tweeted on Twitter with a little wink gif to someone's question.
Yes, I saw that. I think it was Ipswich Town fans page. I did see that. Actually, I've got a clip from the interview, courtesy of iFollow and Dan Palfrey, on what sort of player he thinks he is.
Yeah, I'd best describe myself as a quick winger that likes to dominate 1v1, creative, and likes to score and create goals. Yeah. I mean, that's the aim.
Big fan of them earrings. Big fan of them earrings, Martin.
Yeah. Do you know what my wife said when she saw that interview and I was clipping it up? It sounds like somebody who's just been forced to camera and said, "Speak, tell us what you're about."
Well, did you see the little video from like in the stand that he did? That looked like he was at gunpoint. I thought
hostage. I know.
I watched the whole interview, and McGuinness is in here. I thought both of them, young lads, they've spoke really well.
Yeah,
I liked what he had to say. He was at Tottenham for 10 years, and he decided himself to go to Germany, which I was really impressed with.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I was going to ask you, is this sounds to me, the more and more I hear it, I know you can play centrally up front, of course, but more of a Garbett replacement. This sounds like this is the Luke Garbett replacement, Rich.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about him. I watched his YouTube clips, the new Gareth Bale. I think that was when he was at Spurs. Look, and look, if you're going to put together a clips video, he's going to look decent, isn't he?
Good grief! I could make Banya look good.
Yeah, but I don't know a lot about him. I'm not going to judge him yet, but I think it's another string to the bow.
You, Rich.
No, but I think it puts Freddie Sears under pressure because I think he's going to play on that left side. I see he can play fullback. I agree with you there, Luke. It all depends who we can afford striker-wise, doesn't it, to get in with the cap. Because we're a bit we're hampered, aren't we? Really, where we can go with that.
I think it comes down to the question about the cap, about giving Cole Scouse a new contract. I'm not sure That's something that you guys have spoken about before. But like,
Oh yes,
he's a player.
friend of the show, Kolskius.
Even if fit, I don't think he doesn't slot into our centre midfield by any stretch of the imagination. So I think that's a strange one. Kind of gives up a place to someone that could benefit the team.
Definitely.
And, strange.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I was just thinking, in terms of obviously a striker, this signing does give you options. It does allow you to move Freddie Sears centrally again, where he can play as an emergency.
Interesting you say that. Lambert said he poo-pooed that, didn't he, yesterday when they asked him about Freddie playing centrally. I'll tell you what he did. What Lambert did do yesterday, he killed Ben Falami.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that was real poor man management. Basically to come out and say, you're not good enough.
But maybe he needs to fire. We had this earlier in the summer about Lambert and his man management. He knows these guys better than we do. On the signing of a striker, I've heard some rumours, not for a striker, but in terms of this deal, that maybe there's an option of a buy clause at the end of the loan deal for 300 grand.
Yeah.
Now, if that's true, brilliant. But that's the sort of loan deal maybe you could be looking at for a striker. And under 21, so he doesn't count against the cap. And you can, of course, then buy him at the end. And I think we have to start doing that, don't we? Isn't it about time Town started taking loan players in with options to buy? Because how many loan players have come through our doors at a low value that's not quite what we want to spend, and then doubled it because they've had a fantastic year where they have been the outstanding feature? Garbett, Fraser, Lawrence, Selena. The list goes on. I mean, Selena's just been sold or is on the market for like 2 million, so he can't have been worth that much.
He went to the France First Division, to Dijon, I think.
Yeah, so he couldn't be worth that much to start off with. No. So it's good to see that maybe this is starting to happen. And as I said earlier on the video on Facebook, we've bought a continental player. Ipswich Town have gone abroad and got a player. That's like that is like bootlegger stuff.
But I like the last two deals with him and McGuinness. It's literally come out of nowhere. RKA out of nowhere, Martin. We didn't see it coming, did we?
No, we did not. On to Facebook, we've got Adam. I'll go back to Arsenal on 21s for a striker. We can speak of that after the game, certainly. John Fleming, he looks good for this league. Dean Archer asks, very good question, bringing it back onto today's game. What's your first sub in the second half and why?
First sub?
It's not Bishop.
Well, we'll see how the game's going. See how the game's panning out, really.
Yeah, let's bring it back onto today's game. So we've got... D Jones. Stat has left Blue Monday. Are we a step closer to the Stat and Cruncher pod? Look, let's start this up. Look, the hashtag, bring Stat to TT, because if he wants to talk personal terms, we'll happily open the contract negotiations with Renegade Stat Man without a shadow of a doubt. He's the best thing since sliced bread on that show. Louis Sharp. Everyone forgot about Skew to the club mentioned him. We didn't. We never have. So MK Dons. I've called it a trap game, because I feel they're better than maybe some fans think they are. Last week they got beat by Crewe, so you kind of lulled into this sense of we should bulldoze them. But actually, Russell Martin, friend of Lambert's, that always gets the fires going, and the players will be playing for him a little bit today. So, what do we think? I want to see us win, obviously, but I just feel trap game. I'll start with you, Luke, and then Cruncher, you can jump in.
Yeah, I think it'll be an interesting one. As you said, they've got a good side, some good players, good new signings. You've got Scott Fraser in from Burton, Daniel Harvey in from Ayr, player that I've rated for a while, left really attacking fullback. You obviously got Richard Keogh in there. In terms of striking options, you've got Joe Mason and Colton Morris. Probably haven't scored as much as they have this season, but they're a player with players in positions. Lassie Sorensen as well on loan from Stoke. But yeah, I think it might be one where we actually might concede our first goal this season. It wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, I have no qualms about a win, but I don't think it'll be as as far away as what it has been in terms of score lines than the most recent games.
Okay, Rich?
I agree with Luke. I think it's going to be a tough game today because obviously they need a win. 1 point out of 3 games is probably not the start they're looking for. But I'm expecting a win. I'm expecting we're going to equal the record, Martin, from 1974. 4 clean sheets on the trot. That is the last time we've done it, in 74. So when you're looking in the history books, in 20 years' time, Wilson and NCR will be in there, because it'll be 4 clean sheets from the first 4 games. I'm going for a 1-0 Town win. I don't think there's going to be a lot between the teams, but I think we're going to nick it. 1-0, Edwards will score the goal.
Okay, so Richard's gone 1-0, Edwards to score. Luke, what are you thinking, my friend?
I'm going to go 2-1. I'd say Hawkins and Lancaster off the bench.
Okay.
In terms of MK Dons, probably a goal from Scott Fraser. Wouldn't be surprised to see him in the attacking part of the pitch.
I think today, Martin, as well, with next Saturday's game off now against Charlton, some of these players are not going to play for 2 weeks. So don't leave anything in that dressing room. You know, let's get out there, come steaming out the blocks. They've not had a great start. We have. The pressure's all on them, I think. They're the home team. But I think we can use that to our advantage today. And I'm expecting a win. If we're going to get promoted at the end of the season, you've really got to go to MK Dons and turn these teams over. I went last year up there. It was a 1-0. And we really were probably in second, third gear that night. So I'm hoping more the same. I'm just gutted that it's literally 45 minutes up the road for me and I can't bloody go.
Oh, my heart bleeds. I've got New Gardener, 3-1 Town with Hawkins to get off the mark. Eric Clacton, still driving home, 1-1. Louis Sharp, they're a team you can't expect to win. We have to work as hard as we would if we was playing Peterborough. Kia will prove today why we didn't need to sign him. That'd be an interesting battle for me. I'll be watching that very closely, Hawkins versus Keogh. I've said on my Twitter account yesterday in Forecast Friday, and thanks to all those that got involved, I've gone for a 1-0 Town win with the Freddie Sears free kick. Now, I said that before the article, or I might have said before I read the article, but I think they're double bluffing here, you know. I think they're going to line up over a free kick, Freddie and Chambo. The world will think Chambo. Freddie will take it, bottom corner, 1-0. You know, 88th minute, we'll nip home, EA14, with 3 points in our back pocket. But I do agree with you both. If you're going to get promoted at the end of the season, this is a game away from home. You've got to be winning. And we did win it last year. It's one of those trap sort of games for me where you can't quite predict what you're going to be getting from MK Dons. Zach Church on Facebook, 3-2 Ipswich. So everyone has gone, well, apart from some people, Martin, has gone for a Town win. So there is a little bit of confidence bubbling within the fan base. Do we think Sears will have a good game today? Just to round off, because we've got 2 minutes left. So do we think Sears can come through today?
See, we spoke about him last week on the pod. He's not a wide player for me. Pressure's on him today. He's had 2 quiet games. He knows now. Jack Lancaster, he's got him breathing down his neck. He's got Bennett's now breathing down his neck. He's really got to perform, because it's all right saying play well, keep the shirt. He's had 2 under par performances for me, Martin. If he has another one today, it'll be interesting to see what happens the next league game when we play Accrington, because obviously the team Tuesday night will be much changed. But it'll be just interesting to see what he sort of does then, Lambert. If anybody has a quite like Bishop has another quiet game, but I want Freddie to have a good game. I want him to score. I'd love him to score a free kick, but you must be dreaming if you think he's going to do that.
Well, let's wait and see. The teams are out, so come on, you Blues. We'll see you all at half time.